14 items on our spring shopping list episode.
We have some products that are entirely new.
Wait, there's 13 on this list.
13.
Yep. Nope. 12. Some of these new spring products are selling out really quickly.
This podcast may be over before it even starts.
Now 11.
You ready?
No. So let's go. Inside Trader Joe's.
I'm Tara Miller, Director of Words and Phrases and Clauses.
And I'm Matt Sloan, the Culture and Innovation Guy at Trader Joe's.
Okay, Matt, help me out here. Why would Trader Joe's sell out of new products? Isn't it like Retail 101 to keep products that customers want in stock?
Yes, and we do exist to sell things, and selling things is what we do. We would rather sell things than have things, to be completely honest.
A lot of retailers get paid to have stuff. They get paid for that space on their shelves. We don't do that. And I think one of the reasons that a lot of our stuff, especially our kind of limited edition stuff, comes in and out so quickly is because it represents such a great value.
And that value really comes from a business model that is free from extraneous distractions, sources of revenue different from just ringing up a can of corn at the register. We have one place and one way in which we make money by selling great products, and that's it. It's the Trader Joe's way.
Okay, our spring shopping list episode, that's why we're here today, is to help you find out about products, and we get to tell you about them maybe before they've hit the shelves or right as they're hitting the shelves. You're getting the inside scoop.
Scoop as in ice cream scoop.
Like dulce de leche ice cream is actually on our list.
And it's a limited product. Let's just save that one and some other limited things for later in the show. Those limited products, we really don't plan to keep them year-round all the time.
But let's start with some new everyday products. These are products that we plan to have on the shelves every day as an item you can pick up on any shopping trip.
Hey, Tara, smell that?
Smell what?
Exactly. I'm wearing the new Trader Joe's unscented deodorant.
I cannot smell you, so I'm thinking it must work. So let's start with the package, okay? It's like a little cylinder. It's green. Would you call that green?
Sort of a bluish green.
You'll find it in like we call it the HABA section, right? Health and Beauty.
Okay.
And the package is like a paper-based cylinder package. It's a significant reduction in plastic from most deodorant containers, and it just Trader Joe's deodorant, aluminum and baking soda free, unscented. Say this next word.
It doesn't have any chemicals that are known as phthalates or parabens.
Okay.
It's on a deodorant basis, a pretty simple ingredient deck. It's mostly a coconut oil base with a few other minerally things, forms of magnesium among them in there.
Yeah.
And there's not much to it on an aroma basis, which is the whole point.
I also love that there are directions on the package. Apply liberally underarms.
Well, we're here to help.
So quote-unquote natural deodorants tend to be super expensive, and this one is not super expensive. I mean, this one comes in at, let's see, what is it? This one, it's $4.99. That's a deal.
That is an amazing price
difference.
difference.
It's a super value. And just in time for spring, when you might be outdoors more and you might be sweating a little bit more, you might be a little smellier than normal. You want to just keep yourself smelling neutral.
Clean up the joint.
Let's move on to things that we can eat, shall we? Okay, next on our list of new everyday products, Piquant Popcorn. What is Piquant Popcorn?
Well, let's consult the dictionary. It's a variety of maize, corn, the dried kernels of which swell up and burst open with a small explosive sound when heated.
I know what popcorn is. What is piquant?
Piquant.
Oh, I've been pronouncing it wrong my entire life.
Adjective, having a pleasantly sharp taste or appetizing flavor.
Okay, synonyms, please.
Tangy, flavorful, appetizing.
Okay, use piquant in a sentence.
I can't wait to frequent the Piquant Popcorn.
Piquant. Piquant. This bag, okay, before we open it, this bag is awesome.
That was a project expertly covered by designer Bobby. This looks like a paper bag.
And it says seasoned with nutritional yeast, onion, sea salt, and garlic. Can you give us a little brief explainer of nutritional yeast for those who are like, what are you putting yeast on popcorn for?
Because it might sound weird, but you might know it by the name Nooch. Nooch is similar to what was maybe previously understood as brewer's yeast. It is a form of yeast, and it has this amazing flavor, and in certain combinations, amplified with a little salt or maybe even some garlic or onion, it takes on an almost aged cheese-like flavor, approaching Parmesan, but there's no dairy, there's no cheese. I just like the flavor on its own. It's Moorish.
It's what?
Moorish, as in I would like some more.
Let's try the popcorn. Oh.
So I get a soupy, brothy richness. It's an umami richness of flavor.
It's not spicy, but it is zesty. That should be an everyday addition to our snack section.
Let's hope.
I mean,
customers will decide if it is so. If it is meant to be, it will be because customers like it.
It just arrived, and
I can go get it today.
what could be better than chocolate glazed donuts?
Answer: chocolate glazed donut holes, because donut holes are the center cut fillet of the donut.
These are even better. These are gluten-free chocolate glazed donut holes.
I respectfully submit that gluten-free as an add-on thing to make it even better is a new concept for me.
In this case, these gluten-free chocolate donut holes, which by the way are actually dairy-free too, better than most commercially available donut holes I've ever tasted.
So donut holes for me come with a whole raft of expectations.
A whole raft? Really?
A whole raft.
Okay.
Because the donut hole is not so much a hole, it's not an absence, it's a thing unto itself, and that is a beautiful ratio between outside glazed crunchy texture and inner squishiness.
Okay, but I would rather eat donut holes than
Then listen to me talk about it.
yes,
Fair enough.
but actually, the person who I would like for us to talk to about donut holes is the category manager of our bakery team. Amy, welcome.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Please help us understand why, when we decided to bring donut holes into Trader Joe's, we went gluten-free with them.
We've got exceptional suppliers that are able to really impart that moist, chewy, indulgent texture and flavor in spite of it being gluten-free or as an additional attribute to it. So in this case, you get an even airier bite to a product with the benefit of it being gluten-free.
And I remember on a strategy basis, you working an angle of saying the donut hole format actually works particularly well with a gluten-free base. And so then you can kind of cover a couple things. Like, we don't have any other donut holes.
Correct.
And this one that we have happens to be gluten-free. So if you're maintaining a gluten-free diet and you'd love to have a donut treat, we now have something.
So it's kind of a crinkly bag, right? So don't bring this to the movie theater. This is not gonna.
This is the ASMR portion of the show.
Yeah, here we go. And I kind of just want to try them because if they're really,
Kinda.
They're very rich and full of chocolatey cocoa.
in other words, it's gluten-free. It's not health food. Like, it's a donut
treat.
still. It's still a treat,
It's a sweet,
right?
sweet treat.
But there's like 21 of these little donut holes in the box.
Rather than having to eat an entire donut, these are poppable. You can take them. They're an easy snack. They're poppable.
First one's free, kids.
You do have to buy the donuts. They're not free.
But the bite-size occasion is just perfect. Right amount of glaze on the outside, too, to make it quite a treat.
I don't have
Yeah,
many
very good.
bite-sized occasions in my life, it turns out.
And this I say with the best of intentions. If you hadn't told me those were gluten-free, I would have no idea. They just taste like little chocolate donuts.
Absolutely. They are as delicious, I think, even as our chocolate muffins that happen to be gluten-free also. So you really get that flavor, the texture, the bite, and you don't really need the gluten.
They have a great freshly made, by that I mean fried donut flavor in the best way. And then the texture is so, so nice.
I will say they're amazing once you heat them up in an air fryer.
Is there anything we will not air fry?
No. The idea here is that this becomes an everyday product in the bakery section at Trader
Yes.
Joe's, right? So if
Absolutely.
you go in with like a donut craving,
You will always have your fix.
That's a tall order. Challenge accepted.
yeah, we can't guarantee that you're going to go into your store every single day and the minute you walk in, they're still going to have them. Because somebody might have bought all the donuts that day.
Just look for that iconic pink package. It's the reference to the classic donut shop pink box. I love that.
Oh, look, I missed that reference. All right, this might be a good time to transition into our discussion of limited availability products for spring.
When these products sell out, they're gone.
not everyday products.
Limited for 500, limited lemon sheet cake.
This one's not new.
It is not, it's returning.
And last year, we kind of thought we'd sell it well, but we didn't quite understand how
2
well
weeks.
we'd sell.
Yeah, it was sold out in 2 weeks.
What do you attribute the success of the lemon sheet cake to?
It is the most exceptional cake that you can have anywhere, and it just happens to be lemon. But it's very light and airy. It has a sour cream base, which makes it indulgent. It's stackable, so you can use it in lieu of just a sheet cake for parties and entertaining.
Oh, so make a layer cake.
Exactly.
These sheet cakes, the mini sheet cakes, the vanilla chantilly and then the chocolate, and then with this one last year, there is this phenomenon on social media of the purse fork.
Yes, exactly.
The purse fork seems to have become a thing because of these cakes.
Yes, if you can make it home, that's why you keep the purse in your fork so that you can
Other
eat
way.
it on the go.
Keep the fork in your purse.
Yes, that's right.
As long as you have it.
Please don't put that.
I mean, it could be a pocket fork. Just watch how you sit down, okay?
Yes, as long as you have a fork in your car or in your bag.
This is 18 ounces. It's a little over a pound. It's $5.49. Like, this is an amazing thing for that kind of price. It actually, like, it sounds crazy to say, it comes from a bakery. So this is like a bakery-made thing, which sometimes means it must be high-priced. It must be expensive. Not the case here.
It should be in stores middle March.
Yes.
Middle March. Look at that.
And it runs through May. We want to make sure everybody gets a chance to enjoy
Another
the sheet
bold
cake.
statement, because
Right.
that is really dependent upon how many people buy this, how
We
quickly.
realized how exciting it is, and we wanted to make sure that we were well prepared.
This year versus last year, how many more mini sheet cakes did we buy?
More than double.
Wow.
Here's a story, a real inside Trader Joe's story. So in the office, we have what's known as the magic table. And the magic table is where samples and remnants of samples go to be eaten, I guess. It's like the elephant graveyard of product samples, kind of. And I have
it's a
had,
good place.
It's a great place. And like in the iterative process through tasting of different versions of sheet cakes, I have had so many magical magic table moments with sheet cakes.
Do you have a favorite?
The
Try it.
vanilla chantilly is my absolute favorite. The lemon's fun because it's just like it shows up like this little strike of lightning. At least it did last year.
That's a great way to
And it's
describe
like,
it.
oh man, it's like, oh yeah, lemony flavor. It's got lemon zest.
It is
Lemon zest
so-
makes so many things better.
It's so fragrant. Oh, man.
Dear sheet cake, you are so fragrant.
All right. I have my purse fork,
A prodigious amount of frosting
It is.
on this cake,
but not overly done.
but it's really well frosted.
This one is my absolute favorite of the sheet
Oh
cake.
my God, it smells so good.
Do you like the center of the sheet cake or the corners?
I like the center. Oh, that is so lemony.
It is lemony. I mean, that's what we were going for. It also has lemon juice in
the
the
cake?
cake itself to really make sure that the flavor pops, in every bite.
You really smell the cream cheese, part of the cream cheese frosting. Mm-hmm. This would be outstanding with a cup of Earl Grey tea. Oh, man.
I think it would also be great stacked in layers with the vanilla as well if you really wanted to impress.
How many layers does it take to impress?
I would say a good 4.
Oh, 4? I was going to say odd numbers only.
It really only takes one layer to impress because it's
Very true.
so delicious and impressive. Wow. In stores by the time this podcast lands. And the plan is hopefully to have it through May.
Absolutely.
Don't wait till May. We ordered more than double what we had last year. However, we can't just go to the bakery and say, oh no, we need more all of a sudden, because that takes months of planning on their part as well.
Now, thinking of plans, what else do you have planned coming into stores?
Our Cinnamon Danish Twist Pastry. We've been fortunate enough to find a variety of incredible products from Denmark this year, and this one really brings kind of the history of what we know to be the Kringle to life from kind of an authentic perspective.
The history of Kringle comes to life. I think
It's a
that
new
sounds-
Rankin Bass cartoon.
Yeah, or like an animatronic interactive experience.
Well, we have quite a Kringle craze in our stores.
It's true, and yet This is different.
This doesn't look like Kringle as we know it at Trader Joe's.
It's a circular pastry. It's bigger than a bread plate, smaller than a hubcap. I don't know. I don't know what the diameter is on this thing, but man, this is like a lot of pastry.
It is a lot of pastry.
It's a round, coiled pastry with cinnamon and custard and sugar.
That's exactly what it is. So it's traditionally known for a pretzel knot shape, but depending on the season, it's also baked like a wreath or a large round cake like our cinnamon twist. Supersized cinnamon bun almost. And just referencing the Kringle that I think are more familiar with in the States, it's about the same diameter. It's just a much denser product.
This is a little over 21 ounces, so this is a lot. Well over a pound.
4 servings.
Four?
So
I get to eat a quarter of that as
Even
one
for
eater?
me, that seems like a lot.
That's 4 very ample servings. If people are listening to this and hear Kringle, we're not calling it a Kringle, but in Denmark, this is a Kringle. I think that would be interesting for people because that's not a Kringle. It's a dessert.
You're like, no, then all of a sudden, are we going to have enough?
That's awesome.
Yes.
Right?
That
Like,
is
what a great
awesome.
problem to have.
Yes. And we will have raspberry Kringle on the shelf at the same time. They can pick and choose.
It's an embarrassment of Kringle riches.
And what do we call it again? What's its formal name?
Cinnamon Twist Danish, a Danish pastry with cinnamon and custard style filling.
We could have called it Danish Cinnamon Twist Danish because it's both.
Because it's from Denmark and it's a Danish pastry.
It's been baked in Denmark since the Middle Ages.
Really?
And it's a huge part of celebrations known as the Danish hygge, which is an expression of being together with fans and family around a warm atmosphere.
So I noticed on the box that there are optional heating instructions. If you heat it up, it's going to taste even better.
Exactly.
But it's just 3 to 5 minutes.
And this one is another great option for the air fryer.
Haha. I have an ally here, Matt.
There are air fryers large enough to hold this Danish.
Hey, cut one of your 4
Exactly.
servings.
Every cinnamon roll born in a mall food court dreams of achieving this level of deliciousness. That's great. So much cinnamon.
Wow.
So much cinnamon. It is very enrobed in all the layers.
Cinnamon can sometimes, in great amounts, impart bitterness.
None.
Not the case here.
Not at all. It's
Nothing.
very balanced with the sugar and
Yes.
the dough.
It's so delicious.
I'm kind of blown away by how good the flavor is here and the texture. It's soft. I understand the box says 4 servings, but to me, this is like
8.
This is 8.
I think it's,
You know,
it's multiple occasions as well.
Yeah.
It could be replace your coffee cake in the morning
Breakfast,
or
lunch,
brunch.
and dinner,
Yes.
says the guy with his
Yes.
mouth full of Danish.
This one's going to show up in stores later in March, a little
Correct.
bit.
Around
right-
Mother's Day, Easter, we'll have it also.
Oh, perfect.
for
Well
it.
done.
Yeah.
Nicely timed.
I'd say pull out the purse fork again, quite honestly.
Might need a forklift. It's so large.
A purse fork lift.
It's a new Olympic sport.
Amy, thank you so much for spending time with us. This was fun.
Absolutely. And delicious.
We'll see you at the magic table.
We just had a gooey cinnamon twist Danish, yes?
Yes,
We
and I'm
did.
still just so appreciative of that moment.
Right? So I have something else that's gooey.
Okay.
We have a new candy item. They are brown sugar boba mochi.
Yeah, so this is just all about the texture.
It's squishy rice dough on the outside, and then inside a little boba pearl.
like pillowy, like squishy pillowy. And it's this very soft texture, very sweet. And that's fun to eat. It's just kind of like a neat, sort of chewy, fluffy thing.
They're individually wrapped so they don't, because otherwise they would stick together and it would
It
just
would be
a
like
big,
a boba log.
Yes, like a boba brick, basically. It would be
Boba
all stuck together.
New product idea.
They should be in stores right about when this podcast lands. Hey, you know what? I forgot about something.
What?
We have ice cream.
Good grief.
Trader Joe's Dulce de Leche ice cream. Caramel flavored ice cream with a smooth milk caramel swirl.
Because if you think of like the phrase dulce de leche, like candy from milk, I
Yeah.
guess if you got literal with it, I love that cooked sugar approaching burnt sugar flavor. I have high hopes for
All right.
this.
I'm digging right in.
Oh man. My preferred way to eat this will be a small scoop with a screamingly hot shot of espresso poured over it, a version of an affogato. It'd be like a caramel macchiato, affogato.
Mamma mia, let me go.
Yeah. When do we think we're going to have this ice cream?
Late March. It's a limited thing because we don't have a lot of room for ice cream because we don't have a lot of room, right? Our stores are small. Our freezer cases are small. So we cycle ice cream flavors in and out so that we can have a whole bunch of different ones, right? If If we had it every day, we wouldn't have the opportunity to bring in other flavors at other times of year.
We're even further constrained because only one part of the frozen aisle is cold enough to hold ice cream. A special part of that frozen aisle that runs at a colder temperature than the other stuff. So ice cream needs to be colder than frozen blueberries, say.
Really?
I'm glad that we made room for this. This doesn't have a lot of inclusions, as they say in the business. This is what eats like that idea of a super premium ice cream, meaning not a whole lot of air whipped into this.
No.
So ice cream, as we've mentioned before, in this country, it's sold by volume, not by weight. So how you fill the container matters. So some ice creams are lighter in weight than others because they have more overrun, more air whipped into them. This is a heavy ice cream, and it feels nice and dense and rich and, that dulce de leche caramel flavor. It's so great on its own. I actually think it would be really good with bananas, like a version of Bananas Foster with some of this would be wonderful.
This is delicious. When life gives you lemons,
have them made into Sicilian organic lemon juice. This is a shelf-stable bottle of lemon juice. And while not unusual to find lemon juice in different places, it's often made with the use of preservative chemicals to hold its color, to hold its aroma. This is just lemon juice from Sicilian lemons from Italy.
Oftentimes the lemon juice that you find in bottles in grocery stores is lemon juice from concentrate. So it's all pressed and concentrated and then reconstituted to be bottled later on. This is freshly pressed and pasteurized, which is impressive.
And of course, someone's probably listening to this and saying, like, isn't it easy to squeeze a lemon? Easy peasy lemon squeezy. But if you don't have the time or the inclination, this is at the ready.
And by the way, there is a very particular flavor profile that you get from a Sicilian-grown lemon. And they're famous, and I don't always have access to a Sicilian lemon.
I got a guy.
The only ingredient in this juice is organic lemon juice. On the nutrition facts panel, it's 0 calories, 0 fat, 0 sodium, 0 carbohydrate, 0 protein. And that's because it's a small serving. A 1 teaspoon, 5 milliliter serving does not have enough of any of those things to register as one or more.
If you're below 0.5, you round down.
Right.
And so it doesn't mean there's an absence of carbohydrates. It's just, to your comment, there's so little there it doesn't register because we have to round to effectively a whole number.
Right. Organic Sicilian lemon juice should be arriving in stores right around the time this podcast lands on your podcast player. So,
and do we think that's a special limited kind of thing?
This one will be there every day. So
I think that'll be handy.
Hey, there's another product that's every day. This is the one I'm probably most excited about. Trader Joe's Thai peanut satay sauce. Love this stuff. It's already in stores. We've had peanut sauce before, but it's been a while, and I think this is better than any of the peanut sauces we've had.
It is a thinner, more pourable consistency than some of the more paste-like versions. Using this is really easy to spoon over grilled chicken, grilled tofu, grilled fish, to spoon over and toss into noodles. It's got amazing flavor.
Sort of unintentionally, it is vegan. It has no
fish sauce, probably.
No fish sauce. It has red curry paste, but it does not have any animal-derived ingredients in it.
So let's saute.
It is wine time.
Hi.
James, tell us who you are. This is your first time on the podcast.
I'm the category manager for wine, beer, and spirits, seeking out new wines, new additions, working with national brands as well, maintaining a lot of our customer favorites that we have already.
We had a specific wine. We had it last year. We had a small amount of it. It went a little crazy. We called it the Puppet. It was a form of orange wine.
The Puppet. It has nothing to do with Kermit the Frog, not Howdy Doody. Explain to me orange wine and the puppet?
Orange wine, also known as skin contact wine, it's made in a similar way as white wine. Ultimately, is spending more time in contact with the skins of the grapes. In that sense, is pulling more color out of the grape skins into the final product.
I'm still a little bit confused, and I apologize. So what is the difference between an orange wine and a rosé?
That's a good question, because orange wine or skin contact wine is similar in a lot of ways, in the sense that rosé was made from red grapes and pulled some of the color out of the grapes and from those skins of those grapes, but didn't have the extended period that a red wine might have.
And other than the color of the wine, what's interesting about orange wine?
There's a little different intensity of flavors that comes through, as well as kind of a different feeling in the mouth. There's a little more texture and phenolics that come through the final product.
Phenolics.
Tell us what that means.
Break it down, James.
Phenolics are essentially coming
You want me to beatbox behind you?
I just keep thinking of phonics, which can't be the same thing as phenolics.
Hooked on phenolics.
Poor James.
So phenolics are a component of the wine that kind of impacts the mouthfeel and the texture that you're experiencing as a result of how the wine was made. So it can vary a lot.
This is not a sweet wine, and yet it has a full mouthfeel, heavier body that I found really worked nicely with food.
Yeah, I agree. It offers that difference from a white wine. I think the way it was made with kind of a gentle approach of extracting that color and tannins into the wine helps it pair well with a lot of different types of foods.
I know that we had a very limited quantity last year of this, and it really caught people's attention, and people were clamoring for it, and it was not available in most of the stores that sell wine. What's going to happen this year?
Good news. Last year was very limited, as you said, in California. This year we will be releasing it across the country.
That is good news. What I saw on our list was a new entry into this label that we've called the puppet, and it's described here as a chillable red. So tell us about a chillable red, because my understanding is you tend to not chill red wine.
In the world of wine, there's a lot of different variations of how much it's suggested to chill wine, from heavy reds with less chilling to lighter style like Pinot Noir or Beaujolais using the Gamay grape. If there's a lower tannin structure for the wine, then it might be better to chill it, to enjoy it at its best.
Okay.
I've often heard about or thought about room temperature as different from cellar temperature, and I've heard some people talking about drinking wine at cellar temperature, cooler than room temperature, and I've heard other people talk about this in this country, in the U.S., that we generally drink our red wines too warm and our white wines too cold. Is there like a sweet spot that doesn't use Celsius that I can figure out how to handle?
I think for this chillable red, the sweet spot is in that 50 to 60 degrees Fahrenheit and likely closer to the 50 end of that range.
Okay.
Knowing that once you take it out of the fridge or an ice bucket and pour it, it's going to start warming up to your surrounding temperature. And if you leave the bottle out, then it will do the same.
And maybe I should just chill, but is this like hipster nonsense or is it a real thing? I mean, what is going on here?
There's a trend aspect of it, but there's also a really long history aspect of it too. In America, we may be chilling incorrectly in a lot of cases, perhaps in the old world regions where Gamay originates, that history is a little more ingrained into the common practice.
These wines called the puppet, there'll be the skin contact wine, the orange wine, and the chillable red. And this year, they should both be available in all of our stores that sell wine.
That is correct.
So exciting.
Yes, end of March. I know that prices vary by region because different areas have different pricing restrictions, but I've seen orange wines out there for $20 and more. We're hitting a price point well under $10.
Correct.
That's pretty great.
And
Yeah.
this is exciting stuff. And I can't stop singing that great song, I'm Your Puppet.
You just sing it quietly and we'll all be okay.
Yeah.
Still don't understand why it's called the puppet.
Naming wines can be tricky because there are a lot of wine names out there and you think you land on a great idea and maybe you can't use that. And this name, the puppet, was already in use for a wine from this producer.
Screw top bottles, not cork.
Correct.
Okay.
Both are screw top.
Easy for summer.
Picnicable. Ready for the picnic?
I thought you said lickable. I'm like, why
Picnic
would you
basket? Everything tastes better if you're outside.
These 2 wines are officially on our spring shopping list for the podcast. Anything else you're excited about?
We have plenty of new wines coming, especially in our TJ Reserve program. A lot of new imports in the mix, including from regions in France like Resto and Bandol. A lot of different types of labels coming soon.
So this is your first visit to the podcast.
Yes.
Hopefully it won't be your last visit to the podcast.
I don't think it will be, because we're
hope
going to
we
want to
didn't-
talk about more stuff.
Yeah, hope we didn't scare you off. Okay, we're going to let James go now.
You're excused. Okay.
Thank you, James. So that's it. There are new everyday products at Trader Joe's and new limited products for spring.
Of course, there are lots more of both. This is just a partial list.
Check out the Fearless Flyer, check out TraderJoe's.com, keep your eye on our Instagram, and to make sure you get every new podcast episode, hit that free subscribe or follow button.
It is free and worth every penny.
Until next time, thanks for listening.
And thanks for listening.